Now, babe, remember what I told you. If my part looks fucked up at any given moment, tell me. Or if anything looks out of whack with me or Jean.
Ooh, my hair's long enough now where I can tie it up here.
You grow a lot after 12, so.
You do grow a lot after 12.
You guys want to do some breathing
Sighing
exercises?
is really nice. Yeah, let's just.
Random stupid warm up, like we'll do the High School Musical one where it's like,
Ma!
no, because I was in.
Enunciate with it.
From the lips
To the teeth, to the tip of the tongue.
Yeah, so. But dude, honestly, think about going camping if we did live in a simulation.
Oh, yes.
That would be insane. Like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go out and touch some grass. Nah, grass is actually fake.
Dude, you know something crazy about the simulation theory?
But that is my story with the simulation theory, and that is what we're talking about today, and I figured that'd be a fun part. Do you ever feel like your phone is listening to you? Does it feel like sometimes you get along with the people who you see online better than the people you interact with in real life?
Does it sometimes feel like when you're in the grocery store, the strangers around you feel very NPC-like? Do you often see something that you know is a part of your everyday life, but it feels off? Is it possible that this personalized echo chamber is a simulation within a simulation?
Ooh. So, some things that we've done research on is the echo chamber theory that psychologists have termed it, about how the algorithms are keeping us in their clutches and kind of creating a simulation around us. So, basically, many algorithms act as kind of like a gated community, according to this one article by this author who wrote a book called #Republic Divided Democracy in the Age of Social Media. And he said in 2017 that many people now operate in a virtual gated community as a result of their cold Facebook, Twitter feeds, the opaque corporate algorithms that organize people into invisible groups. And those invisible groups is what I like to term, or I heard someone on the internet said at one point, internet bubble theory. And the internet bubble theory is basically where we all, on our phones, on any device that we log into, like our Google account, if you're logging in, because let's be real here, I use my Google to log into everything.
Oh, absolutely.
I use my
So do I.
Apple ID to log into everything, right?
Yeah.
Because of that, Google's tracking all of our information, which we all know. We all heard the lawsuits about that and whatnot. But what they're tracking is actually to create a specialized feed for you. Not just, they're also selling your information. We can be real about that. But it's also tracking like what you like, what you don't like, what you're interested in. It tracks how long you spend on a video. That's why you always see videos on TikTok that are like, hey, wait till you're a minute in or watch till the end to...
Oh, yeah.
It's to increase
No, wait till the end bit.
Exactly. It's to increase that engagement so that you get fed more videos like that, right? And then that's also why you get like, did you like this video? Was this entertaining, educational?
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
It's all to learn our behaviors online to perfectly craft a space for us to reside in online, kind of creating these little bubbles, which makes it so that you kind of don't hear opinions outside of what you've already thought of previously. So the big thing about these bubbles is it's all based off of your personal preference and your perception. So perception is a huge thing where everyone is perceiving at any given time. It's your five senses, right? And so your reality is based on your five senses and how you're perceiving the world. Like how I'm perceiving the world right now might be different from how you're perceiving the world.
This is true.
With your color blindness as the biggest general sense.
Because we discovered that, what is it? Is it neon orange that looks like your pink. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Where like the neon orange, I identify that color as orange. You would call that hot pink. Is what we discovered.
Yes. So that's kind of where our perception is based on our realities. And your reality has a different color shade than what my reality is, right?
Oh, yeah.
And if we didn't have a term for it, we really wouldn't know what to call it, right? So we had to come up with that. And that's kind of where our perceptions are also based off of everything we consume online. And this is what creates the internet echo chamber. And the theory of the algorithms are so focused on giving us a personalized experience that it creates a confirmation bias within our groups and is turned into like creating these echo chambers. So basically, you're talking to people online, right? And I think we can relate this to basically any subject. You're talking to a bunch of, even with this podcast, right? You're talking to people online.
Oh my gosh,
They're
the
going
different
into
parts
the-
of TikTok.
Exactly.
Where it's like book
Book
talk,
talk.
and then we have bike talk where it's like motorcycles and shit and things like that, and then there's gay talk.
Exactly.
And then it's, yes,
So
okay, I
you're
see you.
basically performing all of these towards your biases. Because
Yes.
your biases could literally be towards anything in life. And your biases can start as small as I just don't prefer to do XYZ into being much bigger, being like, I refuse to do this with my whole heart and soul. I refuse to acknowledge this in all of its being, you know? So that's kind of the crazy part, is it's where everything is formed on these biases. And our media feeds are created to basically influence those biases heavily. Yeah, that's kind of the crazy part.
That is absolutely insane, and it also makes like a lot of sense, and especially after 2020, or like during 2020 actually, that's when TikTok really took like a spike in like people who are making accounts on it. Like I made my account in 2020, and it felt like everyone was on there. Chrissy Teigen.
I made it in like 2017, didn't watch it, and then I just kept seeing TikToks around 2019, and I just kind of made the executive decision. I was like, I'd rather just watch TikTok, and now I'm like, please don't ever take this app away from me. This thing is what I need in my life.
Alright, is it possible that these personalized echo chambers that we've been building ever since like MySpace became a thing is the blueprint for something bigger?
Yes, I definitely think there is a blueprint for something bigger, and the bigger things that we actually see with these algorithms is, like I said, the biases. They're confirming different biases through the content that you're watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it sends you through like pipelines and like
Yes.
the different sort of things where it's like, oh, like everything's a pipeline now. Let's be honest. If you take things at face value, if you don't question, if you just kind of are like whatever, or if you get a certain message, right? This is all based on your perception of reality. So that's kind of where it's like someone could be watching a video of a trad wife, right?
Yes.
At home making bread and be like, man, that would be really nice to be able to stay home and make bread.
Oh,
Right? And someone else could be seeing it and thinking, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I want my future to look like, and that's how stable I want it, right? And then it can lead you into like different rabbit holes and different spirals and
Yeah.
so many different things where it's actually kind of crazy to think how your bias and how the bias of the people around you actually change it. So there's something called groupthink, I want to say. I don't exactly remember what it's called, but I remember back in a psychology class, and I did a little bit more research on this to make sure I'm mentioning it right, but there was a guy who performed a science experiment or a psychological experiment where he wanted to see if people could really be swayed by the group, right? And so he did a test where, let's say you had 3 dots on A, B, or C, and they were colored red, yellow, blue, or like red, red, blue. A is red, B is red, C is blue. And you're told everyone has the same paper. Everyone is going to give the same answer at the beginning of the experiment. So you're like, okay, blue is C. I know that's the only one that's the odd color because the other 2 are red, A and B, right? Everyone stands up and goes, B is the odd one out. What do you do in that situation? You're probably thinking that is a great idea to be like, go with the group because obviously you're right? Because we've all done that in the math class where it's like, the answer's 57?
Yeah.
Shit, I'm gonna change that.
When
So-
like the whole class is doing times tables together, and
So-
then you accidentally say 27.
Exactly, right? And so basically, this Solomon Arch performed these experiments to see if people would hold true to what they know is the right answer, which was the blue dot is C, or whatever test he experimented. I'm dumbing it down so hard. Most people, and this is where my psychology class comes into play, most people actually would follow if it was only one person sticking up for it, right? So if it was only one person who had the blue and who was given the instruction, right? But if a second person stuck up for it, the initial person who they're testing would also end up sticking up for C being blue as well. So that's kind of where it's like, if you stick up in numbers, you're more likely to get people to show up, right? And that's kind of where this also tests groupthink. And this groupthink, you can see it in riots everywhere. You can see it in pretty much just who people support and their beliefs depending on the group that they're talking to. And it's actually kind of crazy. And so basically with all of this, your algorithms kind of are figuring out what your groupthink is, and they're putting you into those groups depending on what you're liking and what you're disliking. And this can also go into politics as well, as we've seen in the 2020 election and even in the most recent 2024 election in the United States with Joe Biden and Trump and stuff.
Yeah.
And, between Kamala and Trump as well. Wow.
That was a lot. No.
Yeah.
Just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
You're doing fine.
No, it was just the realization that he's ran 3 separate times.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
That realization just kind of was like, oh.
Yeah, no, because as you were speaking, I looked down for my next line, and then I just see on December 10th, 2016, I'm like, that was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. That was 10 years ago.
It's 10 years ago is when he was first.
Because it's 2026.
Yeah.
That's 2016. We were in high school when the oh shit.
I remember
we
when
need a
the
minute.
news. It's fine. We're fine. Anyways.
Wow. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, on December 10th, 2016, President Donald Trump popularized the phrase fake news. He tweeted it in response to an article posted on CNN. And then since then, the whole term is just kind of shot off, and now it's a frequently used term, and it's what people usually like to tell you when you talk about things like global warming or wars America shouldn't be funding and things like that. And so it's just one of those things where it's it's all over the place now, but it now also shows how isolated people are.
Oh, it shows how isolated people are, and it's crazy that even in 2019, before the 2020 election was officially closed out, Instagram, Meta, basically had a third party become a fact finder for fake news because everyone was so worried about false information coming across their feed. But honestly, the truth is, it's not news outlets that are actually sending the fake information.
No, it isn't.
It's other people. It's other people creating memes. It's other people creating different types of clips and whatnot. And AI now is ruining that entirely as well, where it's just screw a fact checker. I'm just saying. But basically, people in 2020 wanted to see how much social media actually affected the election, and they found that most people would make a decision for their candidate and then just go with that decision because it went with their values, right? And they tried to kind of watch the social media input of these people, and I've kind of realized that it's if you're consistently scrolling, right, and you're going through 20 different videos and they're of the same type of content, that's going to reinforce your view. So it makes sense why someone would pick a candidate at the beginning of the election.
Yeah.
Before much is even said, other than whatever is being said at the beginning, other than hey, they're running, this is what they believe in or whatnot, or what they don't believe in. People are running with that because it matches some core value. But then in 2024, they realized that basically because of these echo chambers, it reinforced people's idea, and the optimization of social media is giving giving content to false reality and a false consensus effect, which goes back to one of the points that I made earlier about how we're go with the group, because obviously they're right? Because we've all done that in the math class. Groupthink, basically that's what the false consensus effect is where a bunch of people think that, oh, this is what people online believe, they must believe what I believe in my area, when in reality they don't. And they found this out because of how so many people were hurt by Kamala not winning in the 2024 election, because of these online spaces that have kind of made people into an echo chamber of, oh, she's going to win, she has to win, versus the reality of there's other people who are in their own echo chambers too that are also hearing like Trump's going to win. And that's kind of what's insane about the entire, like, you can't say it doesn't affect it when you just watched it in the beginning of the campaign, because obviously you're liking whatever's coming across your screen.
Oh yeah, no, because like I remember like scrolling through and I only had like positive numbers about like Kamala Harris, and I don't think it was like until election night, and I think we all remember where we were, where like they were showing the ballot count, and then you just saw that, and it's like, wow, okay.
And that's because different people were commenting on the different things from different areas and not getting the correct information from anyone, because truthfully we are all in our own little bubbles. And then
no, you want to know something crazy about that? Is circling back to like the election. I think that's also when we all learned that we all know that there are some people who don't vote. I remember being online and there were so many people talking about why they're not voting or why they didn't go vote, and it's like, oh, this is a bigger group, therefore that's actually a really big problem. Actually, like, hey bro, do your part.
No, exactly. And that's kind of where it becomes where we are only stuck in like our own perspective, and our own perspective being pushed by all of these biases online. And that's kind of where the other example that I love about this is, so the false consensus of believing everyone knows what you know and whatnot, is there's a cute little story of this elementary school teacher. And he was like, yeah, this dude like pushed this other kid down, so I went and got the kid who pushed the other kid, and kid A, I was like, hey, tell him you're sorry. He said sorry to kid B, and then I was like, okay, kid B, say thank you and shake his hand. And kid B was like, thank you for your apology, and just waved his hands and started shaking them in the
jazz
air.
Hands.
Yeah, just some jazz hands, right? And then the teacher realized, oh, this kid no one has ever showed him how to shake a hand, right? And so that's kind of where it comes to the other question.
So the other kid just standing there like,
they were, one kid's there like this because the kid knew what the teacher was trying to say, and the other kid's just jazz hands, like, I don't know what else to do, this is me shaking my hands. And so that's kind of where you come to the realization that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the huge thing when it comes to these internet echo chambers, is you don't know what you don't know, and because you don't know what you don't know, you can't really find out information other than that. So the best way to find information is to talk to people and learn their perspectives, learn from others, learn different ways of life, learn about different cultures, travel the world if you want to, be open-minded to learning about other people and how they feel and what they're thinking. Because if you do that, you're going to inevitably try and get out of your internet circle and honestly travel around the world 1 billion times, because you learn so much through different people's perspectives. I myself have had this experience where I didn't know how certain things I did in the past may have hurt people until I learned it through different perspectives through social media, because I didn't know how to communicate. And that's where it's really a beautiful thing when you think about social media and what it can do to connect us. But the things that the algorithm is doing to disconnect us is insane. Social media, and this is a quote, I don't remember which website it's from, but the quote is, social media was made for optimization, not for enlightenment. And that's crazy.
That is crazy.
People are doing I know, dude, when I read that line in the article, I was like, ooh, that line is bars powers and I have to use it. So thank you to the person who gave me that.
But
Appreciate you.
hear me out though. What if we don't have a choice though?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if we don't actually have the ability to choose and seek out diverse perspectives?
Mm-hmm.
Because how you are is how you are because you've already been pre-programmed.
Mm-hmm.
And so none of it is real and none of it matters anyway.
So, by that definition, me wanting to learn about other people's lives and learn different perspectives on is like part of my pre-programming. So
Yes.
wanting to learn about others.
You're already set up this way.
Oh, I love that. All right, tell me more.
All right, so first let's do a little history,
Mhm.
just some brief stuff. There's a philosopher named Rene Descartes. Hold up, Descartes?
This crazy chick.
Something like that. But he
We'll have the
had,
spelling at the top of the screen. Don't worry, guys.
yeah, we'll put it up in a photo
In a
if we
photo.
find one.
We'll find one.
It'll
I
probably be a
promise.
painting because he was a philosopher in the year 1641, and he had this theory, this idea. He proposed the evil demon thought perspective,
Mhm.
which is the idea that an all-powerful deceiver could be manipulating things from behind the scenes.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And make people believe that the physical world is real.
Mhm.
Zongxie, I keep doing the French accent, and that's Chinese, and I'm ashamed because I actually am Chinese.
For shame.
Low key. No, I'll call my grandma. Actually, no, you could call her. She's got dementia.
She doesn't even know who you are.
Unless she holds
anymore.
on to that memory, and then it just keeps cycling through her brain. In which case,
God, that's terrible.
yeah. But no, it's no, Matt, help me out.
What are you looking for?
No, this.
Zwang Z.
I think that's what it is. It's either Zwang or Zhang.
Zhang.
Zhang?
Zhang Zhui.
Zhang Zhui?
It's probably more like Zhuangxi.
Okay, because like it gets really terrible with Z's and X's for some fucking reason, and
It
that's the
does.
shit that fucks me up. Zhuangxi from the 14th century BC is an ancient.
Wait, can we take a moment and appreciate the white man?
Oh yeah, thanks, bro. Stick your leg in camera.
Matt, our production manager.
Yes. Okay, so the 14th century BC, there was a Chinese philosopher named Zhang Shui, and he famously wrote his butterfly dream questioning whether a man is dreaming he is a butterfly or a butterfly is dreaming that he is a man. And so that's a whole loop there. And then there's
I
Philip
remember
K.
learning about that
Dick.
one.
He's a sci-fi author who explored the concept of fake engineered realities. And in his famous speech, if you find this world bad, you should see some of the others. Pretending or predating modern digital simulation theories. And so this has been like an idea for a minute. And now we've all heard
Alright, now I
of...
have to go find that speech.
Dude, you do. It's actually legitimately cool. We should put a description in the link below. But we should put a link in the description below.
I caught that, but then I was like, I'm not gonna fix it.
Now, we've all heard of the simulation theory, aka also known as the matrix theory. We've heard it multiple times. It's a very famous theory. It's something that kind of took off. We hear Giga Chads talking about it all of the fucking time. The 1999 movie, The Matrix, obviously starring Keanu Reeves. And then The Truman Show, even in 1998, starring Jim Carrey. These are all like really good examples of like the simulation theory to a certain extent. And then even on Rick and Morty season 1 episode 4, they also do the simulation theory. That's the episode where Rick wakes up in a simulation and then the alien's like, you're in a simulation inside of a simulation, and he's fucking with Rick.
I remember that episode.
And so that's not something that, so this is something that we've all really familiar with, but we're familiar with it for so many different reasons, and there's a reason why it keeps coming back up. Now, in 2003, a philosopher named Nick Bostrom wrote a paper called Are You Living in a Computer Simulation? Now, everyone should know, but for the viewers at home who may not know, the simulation theory basically states that our entire reality could be part of a highly advanced AI program that's just running like this whole cute little Sims-like thing. And so, essentially, basically what it states is that you and me, we're not real. Your neighbor, not real. Bartholomew, our camera guy / producer and director over there, not real. That motherfucker is not real.
He's not real.
What the fuck?
But yeah, it also says that every choice you've ever made isn't even yours. The idea of free will doesn't fucking exist. And so, because everything's already been pre-programmed, everything is already the way that it is because it was the programmer's choice.
Who's the programmer? Wait, what? Whoa. What is the programmer? Is he like a weird way of like, is he supposed to be like God almost? Of the
Essentially,
simulation?
kind of, sort of.
Like he just
Most-
plays with it all?
Yeah, most,
oh my gosh.
if not
and then,
all.
And then, holy shit. So the Fates, think about it. The Fates with their little,
Yes!
that's his lines of code?
Yes! Yes.
Whoa.
No, so the simulation theory basically states that there is a programmer who obviously had to build all of this for us to be like a simulation in. And most, if not all, religions have a god or gods who created the universe that we see it as. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of crazy. But the even crazier part is like for who the programmer is, whether it's God or the programmer, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. We don't have enough evidence to support whether or not we are in a simulation or if we're not in a simulation. There genuinely just isn't enough proof, and we'll never know if we're the base reality or the last in the chain.
Oh. So, explain to me what a base reality is exactly. Because the way I picture a base reality is there's a game that I watched Markiplier play. And it's basically, I don't remember the name of it, I'll have to find it, but this girl, or this dude gets sucked into this video game, and there's his video game, and then there's other, like, people's games
Oh,
of the game.
I see what you're talking about, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it kind of like, is that like,
Yes.
sort of? Okay.
Yes and no. So the base reality refers to the beginning of the simulation chain, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, essentially, hypothetically, one of the main arguments of the simulation theory is that if we are in a simulation, that means at some point there was a civilization that began in a different universe, grew up, got evolved enough to create a really fast computer, a really good scientific computer, or had they the technology to make a simulation, and then they made a simulation, and then someone in that simulation made a simulation, and then someone in that simulation made a simulation. And so if you are the base reality, you started the chain, because hypothetically speaking, if a civilization gets evolved enough to make another one, why wouldn't that one that got made also evolve to a higher point of thinking to go, I also want to make a computer. I also want to make a simulation, and let's get on to it. You know what I mean? And I think the best example of this, in case that explanation didn't work, is season 2, episode 6 of Rick and Morty. The Ricks Must Be Crazy. So the plot in that episode is that Rick takes Summer and Morty to go see a movie in a different dimension. They get to the car battery, dead. And then Rick reveals that there's actually a microverse inside of his car battery. He built a universe that could potentially make a living planet, have life on that planet to make electricity for his car battery. And so in order to fix it, Rick and Morty obviously go inside, and then Rick finds out that the civilization he made started making a mini-verse, and then they go inside that thing and discover that the people inside that were making a teeny-verse.
That's insane!
Yeah, it's literally a play on the simulation theory, and it's kind of crazy.
No, think about it. There's a base reality somewhere out there that people don't know. It's like if your Sims could create Sims.
Yes.
And they just created a game in Sims for them to play.
And then it just keeps going forward and forward and forward and forward and forward.
I'm not gonna lie, whoever is the programmer for our reality, it's not a good simulation, comments on the software. I understand that some of it might be our fault, but
you're letting it play out. You could easily delete it.
delete some lines of code.
Yes.
It's fine. Just snap some of us out of there. It's fine.
But yeah. And
That's
so
insane.
on September 12th, 2020, Elon Musk was asked his thoughts on if we were the base reality or not. Elon Musk says that it's like 1 in a billion, and his explanation actually makes sense. Because if you had if you had a dartboard, right? What are the chances you're going to hit the base reality, which is the bullseye, or the outer, very low that you're going to actually hit the base reality? So his example kind of makes sense. But Neil deGrasse Tyson thinks there's a 50-50 chance. Because, hypothetically speaking, when you really think about the simulation theory, we only have 2 options. We are either the first in the chain to think about it and have it happen, or we are the most recent link in the chain that has yet to get to the point where we can make a simulation.
True. I would prefer to believe we are the most recent link where we haven't figured
It
out
makes more
yet.
sense for us to be the most recent link, but either
It
way,
does.
I'm probably gonna keep living it up.
Oh, definitely. Are you kidding me? More universes outside of this one? I love that idea. This honestly reminds me of the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once or
Yes.
whatever it was, where it was like how you could jump to different universes by doing something that you normally wouldn't do.
Obtaining
Yeah.
talents that you didn't have before. I think that does happen in the Matrix, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think it is.
Because there's a part where Neo wakes up and looks at Morpheus and goes, "I know Kung Fu," and Morpheus goes, "Show me."
Yeah. That's where I'm I think with the Matrix, if you think about it, being able to call on those other things by doing things that you're not programmed
Yes.
to do, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's also hard to gather proof to see if we are or not in a simulation. Because the argument would go, well, if you do find evidence that you are in a simulation, isn't the evidence still part of the simulation? Why would the simulation allow you to find that?
But also sometimes code breaks down.
Oh yeah, code sometimes breaks down. And one of the main things, and it's the most common one we hear all the time, one of the things people use as proof to reference that we are in a simulation is the Mandela effect. And we all know what the Mandela effect is, or you've heard of it, and maybe probably on TikTok or Instagram Reels, one of those two.
We'll be talking about it at some point here.
Oh, most definitely. But, so essentially the Mandela effect, for those of you who may not know, is the phenomenon where groups of people remember historical events or slightly major events completely differently. For example, the reason why it's called the Mandela effect is so many people thought this poor man was dead.
I was one of them people.
I was
will
also
be
one of them
completely
people.
honest. I was one of them people that thought he was dead. I remember reading something.
My mom remembers
died.
hearing that he died, and that's how I found out.
I remember reading it.
And then when
somewhere
we
on
found
an
out he
article.
was not dead,
Yeah, it was. I remember reading an article or something online, randomly just feeling okay, why the fuck? I'm 7. I don't give a shit or something. I don't remember. And then I remember hearing, oh, he was just released today, and I went, huh?
yeah.
Man's not dead?
And then when he actually died, it was a reminder of oh hey,
Yeah, oh yeah.
hey bro, this didn't happen already, or
Yeah.
even O.J. Simpson when he recently died. I think he died last year,
yeah.
and I remember a lot of people online were like, "Am I getting Mandela affected right now? I thought he died a fat minute ago."
I thought he
I
died a
also
fat minute
thought-
ago.
Yeah, and it was kind of just one of those crazy things. Or another example, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Are you aware that it is flint stones?
No. F-I...
No, it's not flint. It is flint stones. It's not
Whoa.
Flintstone gummies. It's flint stone
Why?
vitamins
I don't
or
remember
gummies.
that. I remember watching the show as a kid and be like, yeah, Flintstone makes sense because Flintstone age.
Yeah, or when the evil queen says, "Do you know what she actually says?"
Oh, I saw this one. I don't
Yeah.
remember it exactly.
Everybody thinks she says mirror, mirror. She says magic mirror on the wall.
No, she said mirror, mirror.
No, I double checked.
Remember her.
I double checked, and I
remember.
double checked the hard way. I found a VHS tape and I popped that sucker in. I didn't trust Disney not to correct themselves.
No, Disney corrects themselves all the time.
Yeah, Disney went back in and fixed all of those things. But that could be a theory for another day.
That's definitely a theory for another day. That's crazy. I can't
Absolutely.
believe that. And the Berenstein Bears and the Berenstein Bears.
Oh, the stupid cornucopia.
The cornucopia!
Except for that was proven to be debunked.
Dave, the mic.
The cornucopia!
The cornucopia. But no, the cornucopia one has been debunked. People have been able to prove, like, no, they did have this freaking logo. Because people were able to find like, the old... I have, like, tank tops. I have old tank tops from, like, middle school. It has the cornucopia on the tag.
No, I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that all over my underwear growing up.
Exactly.
That's why I'm like, I know I'm not crazy for that one.
Another thing people kind of point to as proof is the fact that, like, our universe is technically coded. To a certain extent. It's not, like, proof of it being code, but it just so happens that our entire universe is broken up into numbers. The universe deals with, like, numbers naturally. Like, atoms only break up into divisible steps, and then even matter itself can be broken down far enough that it makes, like, literally these same configurations over and over and over again. And so it's basically like natural code.
Yeah.
So it's like, it makes sense for us to code the way that we do because, like, the universe naturally does it. And so a lot of people think that is proof enough to see that we are in a simulation, because obviously if all of this is based on numbers, obviously it's some kind of code.
Yeah.
Another one, I think a lot of people would say that this is more like time travel based or proof that people don't age, but there are glitches in the simulation, one would say, that kind of prove that we're in a simulation, like the celebrity doppelganger thing.
Dude, yes.
Where, like, people find pictures of, like, people from, like, the past or something, and then notice how they, like, look strikingly similar to this celebrity. Like, I know there's one that people reference for Macaulay Culkin a lot. There's a few Keanu Reeves ones out there.
Whoa.
And so, like, it's the celebrity doppelganger thing.
I thought we were going to go with, like, a Brittany Murphy and Lily Reinhart.
That's another one. Where, like, a lot of
Yeah.
people liken that to, like, reincarnation, but they think it's like a misprint, or, like, she's only so slightly off. And there's also the theory that, like, everybody has a doppelganger out there, and even though you're a twin, you guys have doppelgangers out there.
Trust me,
Hypothetically.
I want to find them. I think it'd be so fun.
It would be funny.
It'd be like twins with twins.
Oh, and then there's, like, NPC glitches where, like, somebody's just doing weird in public. And when I say weird, I mean they're doing weird hard as fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah! Like, I remember one where... So I remember looking up one where it was, like, Katy Perry glitched on screen, which isn't the one specifically that, like, I think of that much, but, like, I think about it where it's, like, her eye. And, I mean, you could try and explain it away with eyelash glue, but, like, it just stays closed way too long. I feel like I can move my eye, you know? I don't know, but it just feels like it stays closed, where it's, like, what do you have on there? Resin that sticks with the sun? You know? And so I remember that one. What was the other one? Travis Scott was another one. Something to do with when he was at a concert, he just started moving, like, very weird.
Oh! Yes, I've seen this video. I have seen this video.
I remember that one. Like, a lot of people notice a bunch of celebrities doing stuff, but I mean, like, there's some random people on the street where you just see a guy walking backwards super confidently at a random time, and you're just like, I don't get it.
Oh, yeah.
What are we doing here? And you look at the guy, and he doesn't acknowledge anything. You're like, okay, man has to be on something.
Absolutely. It's just one of those things. And a lot of people think the disappearance of Amelia Earhart happened because of a glitch in the Matrix.
Really?
Yeah. They think she just, like, essentially, like, clicked out. And is just gone. And that's why she's quote-unquote missing.
What?
And then another thing that people point out to that we might be in a simulation is, you know how, like, when you play video games or, like, first player games, you can only, like, see the foreseeable world around you, but, like you can't look behind what you're playing as. So it's, like, very much like first player perception.
Yeah.
And so proof that we are in a simulation, people point to that you can only see what's in front of you. You can't see what's behind your head. So how can you confirm that what's behind your head is behind your head?
That's true. And you could ask someone else, but then it's like their perception is what they're seeing behind your head. It's not necessarily what could be behind your head.
What's actually your
Holy
head.
shit. This gets into ghosts. That's crazy if you
Doesn't
think about it.
It's kind of freaking crazy. And so a lot of people kind of point to that, but then also what also increases, like, that theory, or, like, not increases, but, like, gives that theory some weight, is the Sims video game. You know how, like, in the Sims video game, you can, like, play them as much as you want, but then there's a little button at the bottom where, like, you can either pause them, or you can just let them do whatever the fuck they want. Like, I've played The Sims. I think I was playing Sims 4, and I remember I would always let my Sims play, and I would always come back to something fucking crazy.
Oh, damn.
Like, I remember my Sims would always, like, shit on the floor if I wasn't watching them, and I'm like, hey guys, what are we doing here?
What are we doing? You have a
What
working
are we
toilet.
doing here?
Why are we here? No, and there's so many different games that actually kind of embrace the simulation aspect, like Roblox, kind of being with like Dress to Impress and stuff, trying to like simulate a fashion show and whatnot. And there's so many different games on Roblox too.
Oh, yeah.
It's just infinite. And then like you also have all of the other simulations games like Power Wash Simulator, Water
Goat
Park
Simulator.
Yeah, Goat Simulator. Like so many different things where it's actually kind of crazy. Where it's like we are already creating simulators.
Oh,
other than
absolutely.
just Sims.
Another thing people point out as proof is deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
Deja vu isn't like you, is that
Experience.
weird feeling where you feel like you're re-experiencing it. That's somebody just hitting the save button. Save file.
Oh my gosh, you have to restart from the
You have to
storyline.
restart from the beginning.
Oh.
Another thing people ask, like, if we're not in a simulation, how come we haven't found aliens yet? Because the programmers haven't fucking programmed the aliens yet.
True, that's
We're
why
not
we
ready
can't
to
get out of this universe.
Yes, we can't go anywhere. Speaking of not being able to get out of the universe,
Mhm.
the speed of light is a cap.
Really?
It's a limit. We can't travel faster than the speed of light because if we did, we would get to another universe, but the programmer hasn't made it yet.
I see that.
Natural disasters and historical events. So typically what we do with simulations, or at least simulations that we have now that aren't highly advanced, we use them as models to like test out experiments, thought experiments. And so the theory is that, or part of the theory is that our world is a simulation to test out random events and things. We had World War One, then there was a pandemic, World War II, more tragic stuff, 9/11, tsunamis, natural disasters, fucking COVID. It's all part of the programming to see and test how we would handle these situations, or if it's possible for a civilization to survive those things, those events. And so that's one of the things, like we touched on before, religion, and how almost every, if not all religions, have some type of God. And then how we talked about it being like the programmer or something like that. And then, last but not finally, more in recent years, people have kind of talked about how like our technology is advancing because now we have AI. We might be getting closer to being able to build an actual simulator with the more advanced AI gets and everything like that. But then there's also the mini simulation theory, or the chamber simulation theory, which is that everything you have online, your algorithm and everything, might not only be going to the government, but that also means that that data, that information, is also going back to the programmer if we are in a simulation, which means they are collecting data on all of the choices and things that you are, supposedly have chosen.
Yeah.
But essentially you might just be feeding information to a higher power, and that higher power is the programmer, and someone's collecting data on us.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. The programmer's just collecting data on us for our own social media?
From your own social media, from everything you experience, and like how you're gonna handle things in certain situations.
That is insane.
Isn't it? And a lot of people believe this, especially now that like, a lot of people also especially believe that we're getting so close to like accidentally creating a matrix ourselves. And so, essentially, it kind of looks like we're headed down that road. But again, we'll never know if we're starting the chain or if we are the most recent link in the chain. But unfortunately, in conclusion of all of this, we won't know until we fucking know. We haven't fucked around enough to see if we are in a simulation.
Well, I think we're all okay. And if we do fuck around, who knows? If it's not the programmer that's just making us curious and touching the border, and then sending a Leviathan after us. I'm not a Cthulhu reference there for you, because that's probably what ends up happening from what it sounds like.
Oh no. But as Neil deGrasse Tyson said, it's kind of a 50-50. We won't know until we know, but until then, you could just kind of have to
And we may never know.
We may never know. By the time they figure it out, I don't think it's going to be in our lifetime.
No,
if we
it's
find
not.
out we're in a simulation, or even if we build a simulation.
Definitely not going to be in our lifetime.
An interesting, Bostrom pointed out, the guy who wrote the paper, oh my gosh, who wrote the paper, Bostrom, who wrote the paper on like if we're in a computer simulation or not. He said one of the things about this theory is that it's kind of presented like a trilemma of sorts. And so he says the simulation theory means that one of the following statements is true. Either civilization is going to go extinct before we get to that point where we can make a simulation, technology is going to advance, or technology advanced civilizations are going to lose interest in running a simulation, or we are straight up just in a simulation.
Damn.
And so yeah, but to tell you the truth, this is going to be an open case for the rest of time. Because
we'll never
we won't
know.
And even if we are in a simulation, what choice do you have?
Yeah, what choice do we have? The best thing to say is we do have choices in making our, like, the right decisions now. We do have choices in making the right decisions now when it comes to our lives and how we want to experience them. And I say, even if we live in a simulation, even if the programmer is like making all of the big decisions for us, at the end of the day, why not go out and learn new things and just open up your perspective, open up your echo chamber, learn a different life, learn a new hobby. I learned so much about like braiding hair, food, and just different things from different people from everywhere. Where in conclusion, the best way to learn is to open up your content and look for new things, learn from different people's perspectives, and don't let the content that you follow influence your life so much that you lose touch with your own compass. Because that is truly the sad part of social media, is becoming one with the trend rather than one who uses the trend for themselves to show off themselves. So, and in conclusion, I think it is good to say, always question.
Oh, always question.
Always
question reality.
Question your beliefs and what you think.
And always question conspiracy theories.
Always question conspiracy theories, especially with us at Deep Dive Disorder. I'm Brie.
I'm Jean.
And that's it. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
So I actually did mess up the pronunciation of it.
Oh, you fucked me over?
It is Zhuangxi, which is close to what I said.
It is close to what you said.
You guys talked about Amelia Earhart. Do you know how she died? You guys know about like the
her
coconut
plane went
crabs
missing.
thing? Did you guys hear about the coconut crabs?
What coconut crabs?
They found a plane that had been crashed on an island, and Amelia Earhart was hypothesized to have been the pilot in that aircraft because I think the part of the remains they found were related to, whether they were like female remains. They couldn't really pull a lot of evidence because it had been like picked apart by coconut crabs. They actually might have not been able to determine like who the remains were because
I remember hearing about
hearing about this.
Two things will pop up: the books that she sells to teach you how to ghost hunt, and the Mandela effect. And so it's kind of like, because of that, on a quantum level, atoms and different protons, electrons, different matter is kind of getting shifted between different universes.
We're going to kind of circle back on that third theory, because that's honestly what the quantum immortality theory, aka the quantum death theory, is really all about. And the beautiful thing about that is that means if it's branching off, everything is existing at the same time. How do we know that quantum immortality exists? Is there even evidence to support that our consciousness are jumping realities?